This is the Night Wolf howling at you, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Skeletron Wolf Trooper figure, Red Shadow's Aerial Assault. For those of you who don't know, this line goes along with was from a Kickstarter for a vehicle called the ROBOSKULL, which basically looks like a TIE fighter made out of a skull. And that sounds pretty bad, but when you actually look at the final product, it looks pretty cool. Still have not gotten that part in. They've been sending items as they are made. So right now we're going to take a look at the figure here. This is a 3 3/4 inch based on the G.I. Joe style O-Ring figures, which they are calling Go-Ring figures. And this is made by Grindstone Toys. So we see the figure here has lots of extra equipment and a spare head, which unfortunately I did not realize at the time that I needed a screwdriver to take this apart because I'm used to just popping heads off of everything now. So I will, when it comes time for that, I will do that separately. On the back, we have file cards information for both the Wolf Trooper and Skeletron, the commander of the Red Shadows. So actually, you can use these as a third faction in your G.I. Joe O-Ring or the 4-inch figures if you have those, because they did make that version too, and 6-inch figures. Honestly, looking forward to getting all these things in. A Wolf Trooper, Red Shadow's Aerial Assault. Primary military specialty, airborne infantry. Secondary military specialty, aerospace pilot. Recruited from the ranks of battle-hardened soldiers with suitable psychological profiles, Wolf Troopers are elite hunters who relentlessly pursue their prey across land, sky, and space. Trained and equipped with advanced experimental technology, a Wolf Trooper's formidable arsenal includes a radiation-shielded armored suit with HUD helmet, personal propulsion unit, zero-gravity firearms, and titanium alloy combat claws. Exceptional Wolf Troopers are tested for their resistance to the most punishing G-forces, and if they survive, are selected to pilot the Red Shadow's most fearsome weapon, the ROBOSKULL. That would be this thing up here. I'll try to find a better picture, though. Howl at the moon. These guys howl on the moon. And this is also where it tells you that you needed a screwdriver tool to swap the heads, which I really should have read this before I decided to do this. But, as I said, we can swap the head to give us our Red Shadow's commander, Skeletron. Primary military specialty, intelligence. Secondary military specialty, experimental weaponry. A chilly embodiment of technology gone awry. Skeletron commands the Red Shadows with an unquestionable thirst for power and control. With records of his true origins inexplicably eradicated, rumors persist that a disturbing genesis occurred during highly classified research into artificial intelligence. While some theorize that a critical error in programming unleashed a sinister self-awareness, others have whispered that external influences corrupted supercomputer coding, resulting in a malevolent awakening. With an inscrutable intellect and terrifying hypnotic gaze, Skeletron wields a vicious laser sword in his bone-crushing grip, ready to slice through flesh and steel with ruthless efficiency. Untamed, untethered, unleashed, Red Shadow rises. So let's go ahead and open this sucker up, and we will be using our knife today, and hopefully I don't cut myself. Oh, he comes with a figure stand. I didn't realize that. You know, before I do this, I didn't realize they did kind of go all out with going with the vintage kind of packaging, because there's not even a tray for the figure to fit in here. It's just in there like they used to do that in the 80s. Now, first up, let's just go ahead and take a quick look at the Skeletron head that comes with him. It does, in fact, look like a robotic skull. It is two separate parts, though, so this is even kind of... I do kind of wish they would have just gone with doing a ball joint, even if that wasn't traditional for, like, this style figure. Because you need to find a screwdriver small enough to fit in this back hole here to take the body apart and swap out the heads themselves, which I will do later in an undisclosed location. Figure itself, classic G.I. Joe O-Ring design, heads on a hinge, and this can also spin up here, which... Now that I think about it, did old G.I. Joe figures actually be able to do that? So if we bring out our General Hawk figure, the neck piece, actually it's kind of more of a combination ball joint and hinge on the neck on classic G.I. Joe O-Ring figures. And I bet you he's not going to want to stand on his own. So that's already kind of different because there is a separate head piece and neck piece, which again, kind of would have been nice if they'd just gone ahead and made it swappable that way. So it just does have, in this case, it does look like it is just the up and down hinge and not the kind of turnable hinge on the neck. That's why they have the head as a separate part, is to give you the ability to turn the head the way you could with the G.I. Joe figure, but slightly done differently. We have pins in these figures as well, which is nice because those will help hold them in place better. So we got an up, down, spin around, kind of hindered by this in a way, but not too bad. Although I would be kind of concerned about some of the silver paint rubbing off, you know, if you put it up against that too much. There is a bicep cut right above the elbow, and the pins on the elbows themselves are painted red to match the suit, and it's actually a pretty good paint match, to be honest. We do have a hinge at the arm, at the elbow. There is actually wrist articulation as well, which is kind of surprising because that is not a feature of classic G.I. Joe figures. You can turn all around, and you can kind of make them spin a bit because, again, that is an O-Ring figure inside there, or an O-Ring. So feet-wise, you can kick up, you can kick back, kick out. You can do that kind of weirdness with them if you want. And then you can get a good look at the hook for the O-Ring. The knee is a single joint that bends at a good 90-degree angle. And there is no hinge or spin at the foot. Head sculpt is pretty basic since this is supposed to be more of a troop builder figure, unless you put the Skeletron head on him. He comes with a separate helmet. Whoops. He comes with a separate helmet that fits right over his head like so. I bet you it fits. I wonder if it does fit over Skeletron's head. You might be able to force it onto the Skeletron head, but I don't think I would recommend doing so. And actually, the seam fits pretty well on that too. I mean, you can still turn his head if you want, but it does look like a single bodysuit kind of a thing now. We have the backpack he comes with. Also looks like it might be designed to hold some weaponry on it. But his little jetpack plugs in just like a standard G.I. Joe O-Ring figure did. And he can fly. This is the gun he comes with. Definitely nothing that I've seen in anything else, because this looks like a wholly new design specifically for this toy line, which kind of makes sense also. Oh, I wonder. No? No, for a moment there, I thought maybe the sword would fit in there. It really feels like something should clip on there. Oh, wait. Okay. Well, let's discuss. Okay, we've got his little claw weapons that it mentions. Or his claw weapon, which he can use to stab. Ugh, stab, stab, stab. He also comes with a pistol. There's the pistol. I forgot how tiny G.I. Joe sized weapons were. You know, that is nice having the swivel at the wrist so you can actually get the hand to fit upright so it looks more natural. And the stand is designed for one peg. That's a big, you know, that looks like that's actually bigger than most of these kind of things. Wow. Yeah, that peg stand is even too big for the ones I use on all the other figures, or the peg hole. I wonder if the pistol is meant to be more of Skeletron's weapon, along with the sword, which I feel like the blade on the sword is a little shorter than it probably should be, though, for the size figure. I guess it is kind of more of a short sword. And it does actually have, if you can see it, there is a little skull detailing on the hilt. That's cool. Now, I'm wondering. So you can fit the claw there on the jetpack, but it still leaves this little hole in the middle there, and I'm not sure what should the pistol go on there. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if that's how they meant for it to go, but you can have both the claw and the pistol stored on his backpack this way. Whatever. That was the one problem with the old G.I. Oh, looks like the pistol will fall down there anyway. That was the one problem with the old G.I. Joe O-Ring figures. They it was a pain in the butt to try to get their equipment in their hands on occasion. Welcome to the Night Wolf Experimental Surgery Center, where we will be removing the head from the Wolf Trooper, and in its place we will be putting the Skeletron head, so we can create our leader for the Go-Ring set of figures. First thing we need to do is remove the screw from the back. And with these kind of figures, the best way to do this is to try to remove the head and just crack the torso open a little bit. Otherwise, you'll be fighting to keep the arms and torso in place on the O-ring. So kind of like that. Slip the new head in the same way. And we screw the screw back in. You want to make sure it's tight without stripping anything so that the head still stays in place very well. And it seems that doing so has given us some really nice articulation on the neck. And of course, the head still has its little spin on its own. And since our commander here is the one who's supposed to use the sword, we'll give him his sword. And ta-da, we have our commander of the Red Wolf Army. And thank you for watching this episode of Mad Surgeries. So, in case you were wondering again, size-wise, it's perfectly in scale with the G.I. Joe O-Ring line. And now that Super 7 is supposed to be bringing back the G.I. Joe O-Ring figures, this actually would be an additional thing for your collection if you wanted to get them. I'm just not sure where you would order them from. I'm pretty sure you can order more of them. I will have to look up the website for Grindstone Toys and see if you can actually order more of these, or if they just produce them for the ROBOSKULL. I know some of the figures were supposed to be exclusive with the ROBOSKULL. So, though, now that I'm thinking about it, there's a question I always have about these kind of Kickstarter ones, especially when they do these in package ones like this. Would it be as cost effective? Like, as a collector, I don't always want to open up the figures, right? Especially when they come in their own cartons. So my question to the people who put these together, especially on Kickstarter or for any of these crowdfunding things, how difficult would it be to have an add-on tier that would be a full set of figures with their equipment, but without the cards, like basically just packed in a plastic bag? For people like me who would love to display the stuff on the card and off the card, but, you know, not wanting to spend the money to get as much money, like, would it be cheaper? Because I know from listening to some people like talk about it for convention exclusives before, when some of those companies, they'll get the product and the packaging, but they have to do the packaging themselves, have mentioned that the packaging itself is is pretty expensive to start with. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace and love.